Hey everyone, welcome back to our Final Fantasy XI 2025 Let's Play. Now, since the last part, I actually haven't played in about a week and a half. Just been taking care of some stuff behind the scenes, but I'm probably going to be recording a few parts back to back here. So, I was trying to figure out what to do, and where we left off last time is I was leveling our sub-job warrior, and realized I'm level 23. Now, something I've probably talked about, but quite frankly I've already forgotten, is going to Jeuno. Now, normally that's something you do at level 20 because you can get access to better leveling areas. Kufim Island, Kazam, there's a ton of other places you want to get to, as okay as Valkyrie Dunes even is, still at 23. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Jeuno. Now, I'm going to offer you two options on how to get there. Jeuno, back in the old days, you basically walked from your starting city. Heck, walking from Valkyrie Dunes wouldn't be the worst idea. And in fact, I am going to come back to Valkyrie Dunes, but I want to show you something first before I do it. Actually, I'll probably go to Kronstadt Highlands. It makes more sense. If I'm going to go back, I might as well go to Kronstadt anyway. Back in the day, we walked from our starting city. That's what I'm going to be doing today, outside of the fact that, again, I am walking from Kronstadt. I am going to walk through some zones to get there. And if you want the classic experience, that's what most people would have done. Now, what you can do nowadays is use something that I alluded to in an earlier part, Unity warps, where basically after you join a Unity and you have access to doing all the wanted objectives, you can actually just teleport to one of the wanted objectives and just walk away from it. Just use that kind of as like a shortcut. And to do that, we're going to have to go over to Bastock Markets. We're going to go over to the exit where all of the NPCs are, the Unity NPC, all that stuff. And I'm going to show you how to activate that and actually use it. Now, if you were to actually want to do the wanted objective, you would need to accept it as a record of eminence. Just for the teleport, we don't actually need to do that. If you want to use a Unity teleport, or if you're reading the guide and it never mentions using a Unity teleport, you want to go to whoever you use to sign up for your Unity. In my case, it was Ixley, because I'm here in Bastock. And you're going to want to go to bring me to a wanted encounter. Now, very specifically, you're going to need to know exactly where you want to go. And for this one, it would be Battaglia Downs. If I take this teleport, item level 125 to Battaglia Downs, that will put me very close to Jeuno, and I can just walk from there. So if you're watching this and you're like, okay, I'm going to play along, maybe I'm doing the whole like free extra month for Final Fantasy XI, they're doing like a thing between 14 and 11 right now. This is the fastest, I don't want to waste time way to get there, regardless of which city-state you're actually starting in. I'm going to do it a semi-old-fashioned way in that I am going to walk. Now, when you are walking, you can walk just outright as you are. It's not really the end of the world. However, I would like to upgrade my axe. Because, honestly, if I'm going to walk there, I might as well do some leveling along the way. Yeah, we're in a day and age with this game that you're not helpless as you walk there. I mean, I'm going to have my trust out pretty much the entire time. And so there is a... Now, those are one-handed axes. I think two-handed axes are on the next page. Katana Club. No, I think I went past the two-handed axes. Either that or there are none. I like how I clicked next page instead of previous page. Hold on, let's do this. Previous page. Two-handed axe. Two-handed axe. Sword. 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 Great sword. Axe. Alright, never mind. I guess there just are no two-handed axes in this level range. So, we'll go back down a level range. And grab... Level 12? That's the high... They really skipped it? I mean, I guess this is the best axe we're going to get for now. And if you want to be extra efficient, then... Oh, that's right. I forgot. I have it in my thing. Let's put it in my wardrobe. And we can take the old axe out now. The big thing with axes and warrior is that you really don't need to have... And wait. Yeah, I bought it. Great axe. It's at the bottom, right? No, I'm stupid. Alright, hold on. Let me get my bearings here. You can tell I haven't played in a couple weeks. No, okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Alright. I can actually get rid of the axe I currently have equipped as I equip the new axe, because warrior is really the only job that's going to be using great axes. It's one of the few cases where you might want to just get rid of things just to keep your inventory in place as you go. A lot of other jobs don't have that luxury. Like, you may have an excuse. Like, oh, you know, I'll use that for you know, the other job. Like, this technically works for Dark Knight and Runefencer, but Dark Knight and Runefencer really shouldn't be using great axes. So you wouldn't really want to take the easy route with that one. And the one-handed axes, if you're planning on playing Beastmaster, again, that's an excuse to use it, though Beastmaster realistically doesn't really use their axe as much as they just kind of, you know, use the pets that they're getting. Alright, so we're just going to sell off those 2 items. And while, again, I would normally walk from here, we are going to take one of our shortcuts, because we've already been through some locations. There's no reason to walk back through all of Kronstadt. So, let's go and use the book. Let's go over here to the auction house. Making sure all my audio... I didn't even check my audio before I started. So now I'm doing the checks, and I'm like, please tell me it's all correct. Yes. Okay. Thank goodness. Listen, I was just excited to get the recordings done because, like I said, I've been kind of behind on... I wanted to have so many recordings done that, like, I could be so far ahead it was ridiculous. I'm probably going to do that a little bit this week because my schedule's a little bit clearer this week. Like I said, I take care of some things behind the scenes. Important things. Nothing bad, just things that had to be taken care of. So I haven't had as much time to record as I would have liked. You know what? Not so much time. It's energy. Some time, but a lot of energy where I'm just like, whatever. Yeah, it's one of those. Alright. Once we head to Kronstadt. Now, once we're in Jeuno, there's actually a laundry list of things that we can do. A lot of the things we will not touch. There are going to be a ton of prompts for cutscenes that we will no doubt be skipping. Without a shadow of a doubt, we will be skipping them. Because there's just a lot of them, and we don't need to do them. So, if you're going from Bastok... In fact, I wonder if that person's going... No, okay, they're not. We need to go through the Pashau marshlands. Now, depending on where you're coming from, your route is going to be a little bit different. All of them go through different zones. So, again, Bastok's going to go through Gustaberg to Kronstadt to Pashau, through Rollenberry Fields to Jeuno. And if you don't have the maps to these, I would definitely recommend picking up the maps. In fact, I don't think Did I pick up the maps to this? I don't remember. I've got enough experience that it's not that big of a deal, and there are actually roads that will take you right to Jeuno. Oh, hello, Tremoram. I wonder if... Tremoram's only even match now. That's not so bad. I still don't want to fight it, because, quite frankly, as much as leveling is okay, I should probably wait till Pashau. Most of this stuff is going to be too low of a level, and Pashau should be fine. At 23, there's only a couple of enemies in Pashau I would avoid, in all honesty. Probably Malboros. Yeah. Actually, it might just be Malboros. Maybe... Oh, there are some higher level quad abs maybe I would avoid as well. I think there are... No, those are... I think the highest level quad abs are still pretty doable in there. It should be fine. Honestly, even if you don't plan on fighting a lot of stuff, if you are taking the walking route, having your trusts available to just kill off, like, if you aggro, like, that Goblin Butcher over there. Like, I can murder the Goblin Butcher just fine. But if you aggro anything at all, even if it's a decent challenge, even match, you don't want to be caught out without your trusts. So, that'll be the main reason why you'll want your trust out. But you can determine for yourself when you feel safe. If you're doing this walk for the first time, you're probably best off just having them out. Every time you get to a zone line, just resummon them is probably your best bet. Me, I've done this enough times where I can kind of go wide around enemies and not really need to be concerned. If you're also feeling nervous, back in town, there are a bunch of different Moogles, one of which is called the Curio Moogle. I believe in Bastok it's in the port, so it's probably in the port for all 3 of the city-states. And you can actually buy silent oils and prism powders from that Moogle. Now, those allow you to avoid sound aggro and sight aggro. If you're a 14 player and you played stuff like Eureka and Bosa, you probably are somewhat aware of these. And they are constructs that are inspired by Final Fantasy XI's aggro systems. Sound means that the sound of your footsteps, you hear my character, walking past an enemy, will aggro them. And sight means that if you walk in front of them at any point, that you will aggro them. So by having prism powders, anything that is sight aggro, usually anything that has eyeballs. There are some exceptions, but usually anything with eyeballs is sight aggro. And anything that has no eyes or sight wouldn't be considered its main way of seeing something is sound. Now, that gives you kind of a brief idea of how some of the aggro works, but I doubt you're staring at these enemies to see if they even have really tiny beady eyes like these wasps or something. So, it's probably better to say if they have pronounced sight, because there's literally hectides which are entirely made of eyeballs and they aggro sound. So it's like I said, it's not a perfect system, but it's something to go by. But basically, you put on a silent oil first, always silent oils first, and then a prism powder, and then for several minutes you'll be safe from aggro from most things. Some things do have true sound or true sight, meaning that if you walk past a true sound enemy, it will always aggro you. If you walk in front of a true sight enemy, it will always aggro you no matter what. But you shouldn't encounter very many of those in the early portions of the game. There are some very notable monsters that block some important paths, especially when you get into Xylart and some of the other expansions that have just swaths of enemies that completely ignore those constructs for aggro. They just literally don't care that those things exist, and you have to learn how to navigate around them. But otherwise, silent oils first, because using any item will take you out of invisibility status. So if you prism powder first, and then silent oil second, then you'll break your invis using the item to apply the silent oil. So keep that in mind with anything when it comes to sight, is that you are likely to actually break the sight, the prism powder buff, if you do anything afterwards. So what have we been using? So because I haven't played in a couple of weeks, we actually need to resort to not using Aparuru, because that's just how it works. For Unity NPCs, if you take a little bit of a break, you have to sort of re-earn them by earning Unity accolades, which acts as a good reminder that we should look at our objective lists and see if there's anything that we can grab that will help get that back. Most of the time, you can go to your daily objectives, of course. We want those. I don't really have a way to buff allies. I will at 25. I believe Warcry counts, so we should take that for now. And then also, you should definitely take your Unity quests. Let's see, talk to comrades in Unity. We're going to do that real quick. Form a party with a comrade at the same Unity and examine a home point. That would require players. Vanquish multiple enemies. Aquin's worth taking, I'd say. Amorphs. I don't think I'm going to be killing any Amorphs today. And then with Unity Leader, we can't do yet because we don't have them with us, but that should be fine enough. I don't remember how many bees are here. Well, we might as well take that as well. And then as we fight, we'll just get them back. Oh, speaking of which, let me summon Melee, since they will have to be our healer for the time being. So if you're going to walk to Jeuno, you might as well get some levels. I'm on a sub job right now, so as far as I'm considered, this will be just levels for my whatever future main job I have. I want it at least at 25, which realistically you should do in Kufim. But it doesn't hurt to try to go through this. Now, you usually want to be facing enemies that are somewhat of a challenge. Now, as you can see, the Malboro is very tough. So that's doable, more than doable. With trusts, Malboros are kind of a pain, but trusts give you a lot of leeway when it comes to this stuff. The real question is, how effective will I be at landing hits? Because as you remember from the last part, I didn't exactly bump my accuracy very much, and we don't have very many strong trusts. Also, I just remembered, it's a new month, so I should see if there's any trusts available at this point, any new ones. Another big thing with Malboros that can be a little frightening is that trusts tend to... See how they're all kind of just standing behind Valiniril? There are ways to kind of manipulate trusts to better get them, like, in separate... Like, just not all stacked on top of each other. But it takes a little bit of finessing, and we're just not going to do that finessing right now. Now, another thing we should definitely do as we are walking through is we should get our EXP ring going. And we are going to kill this Malboro. I'm just going to get my EXP ring going first. I might as well use some meat jerky while I'm at it. Now, these aggro sound. These don't have any eyes, so you can see that these would aggro sound. And you can see that even though I'm super, like, weak, that they handle the damage on the Malboro super well. I mean, this thing is literally, like, on the cusp of dying already. And I've barely done anything. Now, imagine if I had a trust that actually did damage. I will say this, Mealy's probably not appreciating MP. Now, fortunately, it didn't use Bad Breath, so we don't have to worry about Valeniral having VD or anything like that. It'd really help if I could actually land hits, though. Should really have bought Sushi. Valeniral also has basically infinite MP himself, so it hardly matters. But if I'm gonna fight through, might as well kill stuff. Easy Prey I could probably just skip past altogether, unless it's going to aggro me. Like, there's no reason for me to stop and fight all of these flies. They're a decent challenge, but... I mean, you don't want to take forever to go to Jeuno, because having more leveling options later is probably more valuable to you than stopping and killing everything along the way. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, Aquans, crabs are Aquans. So I should probably kill that thing. Since I did take that objective, we probably want to get Aparuru back as soon as possible. And I missed. Oh, I missed. That's the other thing. Honestly, I just want an opportunity to get some skill levels. And that thing's dead. Yeah, they count as Aquans, so we should probably kill Snippers along the way at the very least. They're also pretty low level, so I can actually land hits against them. Which, for my skill ups, I will definitely need. I'm not going to resummon. It's not been very long. And I'm not going to go all the way out of my way. I'm just going to try to kill stuff that's, like, generally in my way. Now, you can take a little shortcut through the back there. I'm not going to do that. I don't think the enemies back there are as valuable to me. I think we're going to stick to mostly the path and kill anything that aggroes. And not just anything that aggroes, anything that would aggro. More accurately. Because once I complete a bunch of these objectives, I should get Aparuru back pretty quick. Mealy not going to have the opportunity to do much at all. Valeniro is going to be solo healing himself for quite some time. Which, given how fast he kills most of these things, is plenty fine as far as I'm concerned. Look at that. I didn't even get a second turn to swing. They just kill too fast. Yeah, we're not going to go out of our way for that. I don't think crawlers mean any... I mean, crawlers are not bad kills, no matter what. They're pretty easy enemies. Unless, if you don't have Shantoto 2 or any sort of caster, they can kind of suck. Because they actually can use Cocoon. And Cocoon just gives them a lot of defense. But as you can see, they're not a very high level at the moment. So, oh hey, Night Bats, what's up? Wow, these Night Bats almost died outright. Alright, I guess I'll just let them do that then. Oh, I have the Bat Wings objective on too. Now, some of these enemies have a pretty interesting history. Goobus are probably one of the most popular, like, old-school monsters in the game. They drop an item called Tree Cuttings. And Tree Cuttings were kind of one of the go-to I'm desperate for money items that you could farm back in the day. And it's because you can actually cultivate them using gardening and turn them into elemental ores, which are then used for several very important high-end crafts. So, while it's very time-consuming, a lot of people were dedicated to tending to those plants and using the tree cuttings as a form of income. So, they sold really well pretty much all the time. A lot of the enemies here actually have similar stories, but the Goobu is probably the most notable one. They were almost never not camped by somebody. There were bots that would line up to do Goobus. It could get really nasty trying to farm Goobus. And honestly, sometimes not even really worth the time. Like, yeah... You can make arguments towards, you know, the time spent killing them, just because if you weren't really good at making gil or you didn't really feel like you had a lot of options, you know, you just did whatever you could with your time, right? Like, you're just trying to make gil however you could if you're just desperate, you know? But sometimes I would go like an hour without getting a single one. And individual tree cuttings were like 3,000 or 4,000 gil a piece. It wasn't like big money. It was just some money. You know what I mean? So if you go an hour, a 4,000 gil an hour is terrible. Absolutely awful. But people did it. Even if you brought a thief, you were just like, oh, I'm going to go as thief and I'm going to take advantage. No, sometimes it just quite frankly didn't work out. So I think we did take the Vanquish Bees on top of Vanquish Aquans. So I'm going to kind of clear these out. Yeah, we did. I have 10 Vanquish Bees. I forgot that there were Water Wasps as a whole. Like, I just forgot these were even a thing. Yeah. I like how I can still hear Joaquin trying to do his little song. Yeah. Yep, my man getting us in trouble over there. Pulling like 3 mobs at once. Are these Aquans? They're fish. They're probably Aquans. And I'm actually starting to get my skill ups in. Now remember, I could already be in Jeuno, and Qufim actually has a lot of the same monsters. They are Aquans, by the way. I wasn't even paying attention. I looked down at my phone and I was like, wait, wasn't I supposed to check something important? I was, whether or not they were Aquans. There's another Water Wasp, too. Qufim Island actually has a lot of these same monsters. Not the bees, but like Pugils, Snippers. Quite frankly, you will most likely kill tons of crabs and crawlers, almost more than anything else on your way up to 99. While there are some more creative areas nowadays, those are still incredibly common. And there's really no avoiding it. What did I just finish? Vanquish multiple enemies. Okay. I'm not going to stop and kill every single one, I don't think. Just because, you know, it would take a while. Yeah. Instead, we are just going to mow through as we can. Make use of that EXP buff. We're almost 25. Now, 25 is actually a pretty big power point for Warrior. I get access to the double attack trait, so sometimes I'll just swing twice. Really good for skilling up, mind you. Double attack and triple attack you will get in spades at the higher levels. But when you first get access to it, its proc rate is pretty common. And it just makes life better. I mean, occasionally. You don't really do a whole lot because you don't have a lot of haste. You don't have a lot of buffs at this point. So occasionally attacking twice can just be massive. Like, look at this one swing. Alright, well, kind of hard to really appreciate the one swing when Valeniral just obliterates the entire thing instantly. But yeah, we can still appreciate. I don't need that many bees, by the way. I only need 10 bees total. And I think there are bees where I'm going anyway with Rollenberry. There we go, level 25. I'm still not going to resummon my trust. There's just no point, in all honesty. So yeah, you can see if I go to my job traits, I have double attack now. And that is going to be very, very good. Now, we are passing by heavy quad av territory. So this is an area where if you were not too cautious, it would be very easy to aggro by sound. Because quad avs do actually aggro by sound. It looks like they have faces, but they don't actually have eyeballs. Or if they do, they're so beady and small that they don't really use them. They aggro by sound. Gubus, these big guys, those beady little eyeballs do aggro by sight. Those beady little eyes, look at them. Look at how many rows of teeth they have. It's like a shark, like a lanky land shark. And we'll have to go there for a mission, actually, for Bastok soon. But not right now. We're not focusing on the mission. We're focusing on getting to Jeuno. More often, you want to take the option to get more places to go to level more. Then you want to prioritize missions. Because what ends up happening is, because missions don't have level syncs, by getting further and getting more locations, you'll probably naturally level up a lot. And by naturally leveling up a lot, going back and doing those missions becomes significantly easier. Now, not all of them. I just double attack. There we go. Not all of them get easier. There are several where our level is going to be capped. Now, not what you're thinking. Most of the missions where they used to have level caps on them have been removed. But the game itself will level cap us at 50. And in order to unlock levels 51 to 55, we need to do a quest, which is called a limit break quest. Most people call it a Genkai quest. A limit quest, basically. And, you know, it's not like we can avoid. We're going to have to be level 50 for those. And some of those are in pretty dangerous areas. You can choose to either fight through the opponents that are there, or you can choose to try to sneak by and just pick items up. You can either fight enemies or pick items up off the ground. And either way, it can get pretty scary, even at level 50 itself. Especially if you were in the kind of scrub gear that I'm in right now. Hey, I did a skill change. That's probably the most useful thing I've done with this axe up to this point. Look at me. Alright, so we got vanquish multiple enemies daily done as well. Let's make sure we're still going the right way. Yep. We're probably going to come across a few more bees. We don't need very many more. Just need like 3 more. This is actually the spot where most people would farm Gubu. So there's a notorious monster that can spawn here called Jolly Green. Yes, after Jolly Green Giant. They know you're not crazy. That is exactly what it's named after. And so this is where most people would actually farm tree cuttings instead of farming them kind of like all along the path. There's usually, I think, like 2 Gubus that can appear here. I see one. I think there's one more that's just like out of range somewhere. But yeah, it was just a popular spot. I think he had a higher chance of dropping tree cuttings on top of having his own drop. I don't think his drop was very good for anything. I think it was, why do I feel like it was like water resistance pants or something like that? I don't remember. But it wasn't very good. I mean, you might sell it for a little bit extra, but it wasn't an item people were like pining over. You know, you weren't going to like impress anyone with, oh my god, they have that drop from Jolly Green. Wow. No, definitely wasn't the case. Also, as noted by the NPCs over there, this was an area where one of the PvP activities called Ballista would take place. I am shocked he didn't use Uriel Blade. And, Melee, I really hope he doesn't use Bad Breath, let me tell you. Because that would not be good for you. Because he will breathe all over you. Alright, Vampiric Lash isn't much better because he heals, but it's not the worst at the same time. But, yeah, Ballista is a PvP activity where nations would go against each other, and they would just use the open world map kind of as a backdrop to the actual PvP event. So other people could see you doing the PvP events here. I mean, I guess for, like, early, mid-2000s, like, you could do worse. But, like, it wasn't very good. We're going to resummon Melee here just because she's asleep. She was put to sleep by the sweet breath, and we didn't wake her up in time, so I'll resummon her. She'll get her MP back, and it'll be great. But yeah, some people have really fond memories of it. There's some really big cheese stuff you could do with it, but you know, I'm not going north. But in reality, it wasn't super good. Like, I know I never really found it fun. And nowadays, you'll never find anyone doing it at all. So, Relic of the Past. Those are the NPCs that deal in Ballista right there, though. So this right here, where you might be killing Gubus, would also sometimes, you would just catch people doing their PvP stuff out here if enough people even signed up for a Ballista match. Yeah, it doesn't even happen. If enough people don't even sign up, it's just like, yeah, we're not doing it. Never mind. And it, like, moves between zones, too. I don't remember how many zones had overlapping times, but, like, different zones had, like, different times of day and different nations that were allowed to participate within the region. So it wasn't even like anyone could go and sign up. You had to, like, have a Ballista. You had to go and get a PvP license. You then had to, like, know the times that your nation could fight in certain... It was just a lot of you needed to know. And most people, quite frankly, didn't care to know. So, what are you going to do about that, right? Now, we're almost through Pash House, and we'll be one zone away from where we need to go. Now, one thing I didn't mention here, and I could have checked before coming out, is I believe I mentioned outpost warping prior to this before. Now, there's not really much of a reason to do it because all of the outposts have books at them. So the outpost warping is kind of pointless, right? Like, why you have the book? Why would you bother getting the outpost warp as well? But it was an option. I could have checked to see if I could have done an outpost quest here, where they give you supplies and you deliver them to an outpost that you control. Now, mind you, Basok doesn't control this area right now. Sandoria does. So it's kind of irrelevant for me. I wouldn't have been able to do it, like, bottom line. But, I mean, I could have checked. And it still would have been pointless, but I could have checked. I'm just saying, you know, I'm just pointing out the little things that people used to do and you technically still could do, but there's not really much of a reason to do. We are going to grab the book over here. Make sure every time you're walking through a zone, check the map, see if there's a book somewhere. Make sure to grab it. That book symbol right there, that doesn't get any bigger when you zoom in. That's what we're looking for. And you see it right there. We need the survival guide. Alright, and now we can teleport back here. What's also nice is that if you're going to do this walk and you died, let's say you die in Rollenberry Fields, you could, if you still wanted to, like, kind of have that thorough experience of doing the walk, you could then book back here if you just wanted to use it as kind of like a checkpoint. But that's not all that. Who cares? People just want to get to Jeuno. Nobody even, like, I was going to say, nobody even wants to do this walk. No, that's not true. I'm sure a lot of old heads would see this, would be like, oh yeah, absolutely I'm going to do the walk. Why wouldn't I do the walk? Not every old head, but definitely a non-zero number. Hey, I actually landed an auto. There we go. Now, the enemies in Rollenberry Field, some of them will be a decent deal more threatening. Why would you Circle Blade? I had to look around to see if there were any enemies. Circle Blade is not very good unless you're AoEing, and even then, it's not very good. So. My man looking like a fool over there. Man, I really should. I only have like 6,000 gil at the moment, but I should really buy sushi. And all of Mealy's MP is gone. Now we get to listen to my man sing songs that are never going to finish. Ah, somebody riding their Chocobo. Now, see, when I get to Jeuno, that is one of the many things I can do, is get a Chocobo. And it looks like they're auto-running into a wall. Alright. Rollenberry Fields, here we come. Walk, 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 walk. What level am I? I'm like a little more than halfway to 26. Yeah, Kuvim is usually like 20 to 25. So I've technically already exceeded on my sub job the level that people would be using for that. Nothing wrong with that. It's not like you have to do it. But it's something to keep in mind. Like, you don't want to do the same leveling locations I've been doing now. When you're actually going through on your own character, you really want to make sure that you're going to places that are ideal for your level range. I'm just taking EXP as it comes because why not, right? Not going to turn it away as I go through here. Yes, it would be faster to go to. It would have been faster to go to Kuvim, do the few things there, but that's not what the video series is about. I can't make it all about optimally getting through. As long as I showed you the option, that's fine, right? The wanted encounter, the Unity Warp, that's more than fine. That book was not one we can use, by the way. And I did buy the Rollenberry Fields one. There is a book up there, however. So we're going to make sure we grab that. So, the Silver Quadavs, incredibly tough. So this is what I mean. In Rollenberry, I may not want to opt to fight absolutely everything. But I should opt to fight some things. Just again, it's EXP. And these things are tough. Like, tough to incredibly tough is ideally what you're fighting. You don't really want to fight decent prey to decent challenge. You want at least even that. And it's especially important because I really, really need to get axe skill ups. Like, I need to get all skill ups, but like right now, I'm on warrior. I have an axe. The axe is what needs to get leveled up. There are also wasps here, so we can start finishing up getting our bees. Come on. Swing the admin. Oh, I missed. Just got to be a little cautious of that silver one. So the silver one and the brass one are technically of the same, like, level range. But silver quadas, if I'm not mistaken, are thieves. And I mentioned this with the muggers before. Not the muggers. The, what was the goblin type? No, actually, yeah. I mentioned it with the muggers before. Mugger was the right type. Fighting thieves gets kind of dicey because thieves have naturally high evasion. And as such, fighting them gets just tough. Now, there is also Goobos. These are IT Goobos, but they do have low defense. If you see something actually has a low defense, even if it's incredibly tough, there's a good chance that it's not too bad to fight. Especially if you happen to be playing during a time where you picked up one of the more powerful trusts. Like, if you picked up Shantoto too, she would absolutely murder this thing. It would literally just not even be close. It would be dead. Like, as soon as I landed that skill chain, she would have magic bursted it to death. I really can't understate how strong she is. That being said, as you can see, it slowed down a little bit, even with Joaquin giving us the buffs. It's just because I'm not doing any damage. If I was doing damage, this thing would be dead already. But I do, like, virtually nothing to this thing. Level 26. Now, because we're fighting mobs that are actually on a higher difficulty curve than the ones we've been fighting previously, not a bad idea to consider actually swapping out my trusts every level now. As you can see, also wholly unnecessary, but the power increase is not insignificant. So, what we are going to do is we're going to step over here. We got to make sure we're safe when we're doing it. And we are going to rough all. It hasn't even... Oh my goodness, it hasn't even been 5 minutes. Yeah, so now I gotta just chill for a second. That's true, I was almost leveled when I even, like, got out here. Should have considered that. He's okay. We have no reason to really kill crawlers, other than the fact that they are worth something, but again, we don't need to level out here. It's not the goal. Yeah, if you're not going to be upgrading gear very much, like you can see I'm not, then resummoning trusts is just such a massive boon. What was the other one that I had? I had, like, beasts with melee damage, or, like, beasts with magic damage or something available to me. HP. I still have to do the... Oh, amorphs with physical damage and beasts with magic. Yeah, that's not great, to be honest. Alright, tough. I think copper quad... Now, that Zircon quad is... How did he not aggro me? The Zircon, I believe, is a black mage. Now, keep in mind, these things will link together if they're too close together. And somehow they aren't too close. I'm shocked right now, to be completely honest. I'm only level 47. Aha! I'll steal. Alright, didn't get anything. I am that sub-thief right now. Hopefully once we actually get the other Bard song on, we'll just destroy this thing. Oh, it has AoE magic. That's always fun. Alright, so fortunately, because he had aggro, the other one will do that. Oh, hey, we got a skill check. And we have an old quad av at the top of the hill. See, now we got an EXP chain going. And we are just mowing through. Garnet is incredibly tough with high defense. I think this one's a white mage. How are they not aggroing? They did not change these things to not sound aggro. I refuse to believe that. It's just being funny. Now the problem with fighting a white mage is that they're probably buffed to hell. They're not very threatening, but they do take a while to kill. Again, only because I just don't have any stats. I did land both of those hits though. 0.1 skill ups. I'm so thrilled. Did I just hear the rock throw from Joaquin? I think I did. Alright, hold on. We're getting skill ups here. Them staying alive longer does mean that. We're also going to be getting another song here in a second. What songs do we have? Melee accuracy and attacks enhance. Yeah, those are the two you actually want the most at this level. Eventually we'll want haste. But for now, not really a concern. I don't think I have something that can skill chain off of that, but I do have this. It didn't skill chain, but I did get a skill up. Oh man, alright, hold on. Now we're doing work. See, I'm almost 27 now. I miss Aparuru. Whenever you lose your Unity trust, you'll learn to miss them very quickly. Like, man, why didn't I play constantly and keep them? Now I gotta re-earn them. I don't even really understand why they bother doing that. Like, do they really need to take that away? Also, so interesting, I think right now is Vavabout. I have to check. So Vavabout is an event they've done a few times where there's an objective that they want people to complete a bunch of. I already killed enough bees for that objective. Okay, so we don't need to kill wasps anymore. I mean, they're still worth finding XP, you know, so I could still kill them. But instead, I could just kill the crawlers, which are worth even more. And this one, and if enough people complete objectives, then like certain things get unlocked for players, and I believe they're bringing the previous producer's trust back. I don't know if it's permanent because the Matsui P trust. Matsui P is the equivalent as if Yoshi P were a trust. They actually gave him his own trust. So Matsui P, yeah, I don't know if it's coming back permanently, but I know it's coming back if people get a high enough scoring on Vavabout. And that's also, he's pretty good. I think he's a ninja sub-black mage. And if I recall correctly, he's pretty decent. Alright, same deal again. It's definitely been more than 5 minutes this time. Just gotta make sure that there's not anything nearby that's gonna aggro you while you're doing this. Yes, my inventory is full, by the way. And I was mentioning enemies being worth gil. I think I mentioned this in a previous part, but silk thread is another one of those items that used to be kind of like a go-to for people trying to make gil. However, I'm more concerned about the Beastman seal that is there. And honestly, the reason why my inventory is full is because of crystals. Too many crystals. So, while we're killing this thing... Oh my Jesus. We've also been picking up, like, random weapons and shell bugs and shit as well, so... It's not only that. These scales, the fetish items we picked up, salvo vines, like this. A lot of this stuff... Now, Beastman Blood and Fiend Blood is actually somewhat decent of a keep. And bee pollen we can sell for a decent chunk of change as well. Especially with the influx of new players that we saw the last couple of times we played. Well, there's Cocoon. This is where we really wish we had Shantoto. Oh, the Cocoon's not that bad. My damage is still fine. And that EXP ring is still going strong. In fact, I still have it equipped, so I can use it again immediately. Honestly, with how little equipment I have on, it doesn't even matter. Like, it's not like there's equipment that's reasonably taking its place at the moment. And at some points, if there's ever like an EXP campaign and you get like triple EXP from enemies once you've like chained them up a little bit, you honestly might as well just leave it on, because you can honestly burn through the EXP rings in like minutes during those campaigns. It gets really nutty really quick. Wow, look at me. I made a skill chain. I'm so cool. I didn't even want to get into explaining skill chain properties and all that stuff. Don't miss. Oh, don't cast Cure 3. This one's a red mage. My skill chain. It's been undone. Well, Melee finally getting a weapon skill in. I don't think I have very many other quests I can take. The good news is we'll probably be 28. I don't think we'll be 29, but we'll almost certainly be 28 by the time we actually get over there. You will definitely find yourself humming this shit to yourself at some point or another. Come on. Don't miss. We don't like missing. Well, I guess we're going to keep on missing. Once I have Aggressor, my goodness. Alright, well, we don't really want to take on two at once if we don't have to. And they're kind of stacked. I mean, I could separate them, but honestly, not worth the effort. Better to just keep running. Maybe Melee will get her MP back. Yeah, I might just get to 27. We're getting pretty far up there. We're about halfway. I say pretty far. We still have quite a long ways to run. Crazy to see the Beastman on the rise here. Normally that means players die, but I guess when there's a lot of new players, the number of player deaths go up. Because a lot of people probably don't know about the Unity Warp thing unless they are following along with that guide. Or if, you know, maybe they just said, oh, let me do the things the old-fashioned way, and maybe they just died on the way up. That's usually what Beastman Controlled means. It's usually code for a lot of people are dying. Holy Jesus, this thing's got a lot of defense. I just realized how little the Uriel Blade did. Well, never mind. That did a ton. And now it has defense. It's alright. I did 13 damage. Alright, we only need 1,900 more. Yeah, we'll definitely kill a handful more monsters to get to 28 before we get there. And I can pop my head. You know what's nice about playing as infrequently and recording as infrequently as I do? The Empress Band, it's way more valuable. Nope, not fighting the silver. That's the second silver we've seen that just straight up reads incredibly tough. And high defense, high evasion. Like, not messing with it. We'd probably be fine in all reality. I don't think Valinero can reasonably die. It would just be such a slow fight. Quad-Avs aren't the most threatening of enemies. Even once they get to some of their higher level abilities, a lot of the times they're just kind of meh enemies. Comparatively to what a lot of the other ones can do. Now, I will say this, an AoE silence when I don't have Aparuru is definitely on the less enjoyable side of things. It makes the Gubus a little bit more threatening. I knew they had the AoE silence. They just hadn't used it really up to this point. Fortunately, the duration doesn't get refreshed. And I have no way of really tracking when my trusts get rid of the effect. So I should be a little careful. Probably steer away from fights for about a minute or so. Obviously, I could unsummon them and resummon them, and they would get unsilenced, but I'm not going to do that again. Yeah, see, even when I was younger, I didn't really buy silent oils or anything because you can really just stick to the walls. And, like, you should never really aggro anything. It's only when you walk in the middle of the path and you just don't pay attention is the threat of, like, dying on the way to Jeuno really a concern. Like, silent oils and prism powders are really good for, like, caves. Because you can't really get around things. If there's, like, 6 enemies that aggro sound in your path in a narrow cave, like, what are you gonna do, right? Or dungeons of any kind. But out here, I don't really see the need. Now, one important thing about going to Jeuno, I will say, is that there is the next part of Rhapsodies of Vana'diel. Hey, look, tree cuttings. And that is a big deal. Again, anytime you can advance Rhapsodies is a good idea. As long as you're not gated behind needing to do, like, any amount of quests, it's just never a bad idea to do Rhapsody stuff. There's just so much quality of life locked behind Rhapsodies. We're actually almost there. I'm just gonna keep the trust out at their current level. Really shouldn't make enough of a difference. We do have to remember to grab this survival guide real quick, though. Well, that ain't gonna be a skill chain. No! The miss! It's the worst part about having, like, equipment without haste early on. You're like, please, don't miss. It takes so long to swing. Well, should have waited 1 second, my dude. I was there. It was ready. And it's way better if you go second, my dude. Why? Oh, my Jesus. Even Neely's getting in on the action. She can't do anything else. She doesn't have any MP. It's not like she needs it. Valeniro's got this on lock. Bah. I want Aggressor. I think I get Aggressor at 30. Aggressor isn't it's like a really short duration AoE accuracy buff. Oh, no, you know what? I think I get Warcry at 30. Aggressor is higher level than that. Warcry is like an AoE, it's like a short duration AoE attack buff. You've seen the quad abs use Howl, it's the same thing. I have not landed a hit in like 3 or 4 autos. I just want to be useful, please. Well, thank you for that, Neely. Alright, so we don't care about that. It's only a decent challenge. We really want to only kill even match if we can. Why, hello, White Mage. Quad Av. That I may or may not regret fighting. It has Stone Skin. I'm not actually doing 0. It just has Stone Skin. I gotta break the Stone Skin first. I promise you it just has Stone Skin. I'd be in much more trouble if it didn't. There we go. If you're hitting something for 0 and it doesn't have Stone Skin, yeah, I mean, to be fair, actually, that can happen pretty easily against crabs. Especially because they'll put their defense buff up. And also Quadev's are the same. I mean, a Quadev having Protect, like the Garnet Quadev has, because it's a white mage, on top of doing the defense buff that Quadevs have, that can stack up pretty quick. Alright, my man just Savage Blade. By the way, Savage Blade, normally a much higher level skill. Trusts don't really care about the normal level requirements for skills. They just kind of learn them at whenever the developers thought was a good time. They were, like, allowed to learn it. And so, Valiniril having access to that at this level is... It's very good for us. Let's just put it that way. It's very good for us. So, Cavernous Maws we will eventually be using as part of the Wings of the Goddess expansion. And if you want to unlock Dancer or Scholar relatively early, it's scary, but with Silent Oils and Prism Powders and the eventual mount we're going to be getting, it's very manageable to pick those up at 30. You just need to be careful, because it can be... It's dangerous. It's dangerous, but doable. All of the guides now kind of keep that stuff detailed so that you won't be too surprised to be like, oh, if something really bad is like gonna happen wherever you're going and you need to be warned about something in advance, you can. By the way, I did just realize I didn't have the Rollenberry Fields quest active. I think I mentioned in the earlier parts that I tend to start forgetting those at some point, and realistically that's already happening. I was focused a lot more on just us getting there, since this is the purpose of the video. Now, the real question is, should I get my Chocobo in this video or not? Tough call, tough call. We are also getting to the higher level goblins now, so you can see the Pathfinder here. These are mobs you would normally level on, around the level I'm at, actually, but they're normally a higher level in a different location. And yes, it is a Beastmaster, so that B comes with it. Now, funny thing about Beastmaster mobs, one of the old leveling methods that people used to do, and something you still can do if you're careful, is actually... So Beastmaster pets are normally somewhat reflective of the level of their master, but they have, like, non-existent health. And if you kill one, and the Beastmaster isn't in combat, they'll just summon another one. So people used to just chain kill Beastmaster pets that were like incredibly tough because their HP pools were so small, just as like an alternative to leveling. So it's not a bad idea to keep that in mind. It shouldn't be something you ever really need nowadays, but I mean, what's the harm in knowing, you know? Maybe you find yourself making use of it at some point. So, that leads to Battaglia Downs. That is the zone that is closest to Sandoria. So for Sandoria, you would have gone Lathine Plateau, Jugner Forest, Battaglia Downs, and then the other one, and I honestly can't even pronounce all the areas from the other one. The other one would have been Tarangi Canyon. I think Tarangri, I think it technically is. Marifatod Mountains, and Saramug Champagne? I don't know if that's Champagne or Champagne. Never Googled it. Truly never Googled it to ever find out. When I was a kid, I just said it, and I was like, they're just making shit up. And then I never Googled it. So it's, I usually like to say Champagne. Just because I need to entertain myself somehow, and that's, I guess, that's the way to do it. But we are going to be taking a step into Jeuno. Now, Jeuno is where you get bombarded by story cutscenes. I highly advise skipping almost all of them and coming back to them later. Like, every time you zone, or even when you just walk through certain parts, you're going to get bombarded by cutscenes. Obviously, we're going to be doing... You can do the skip. We went over this in the previous video, and then it'll direct you to where to go if you want to see it later. It just, Jeuno has a lot. That's all there is to it. Make sure to grab the home point while you're here. And there is a book in the Rulut Gardens as well. Alright, I accidentally chose the skip. I was waiting for it to pop up and I got impatient. I pressed X and it popped up at that exact moment. You are now able to enjoy a new storyline, A Crystalline Prophecy. So, funny thing about A Crystalline Prophecy, there was a weird time in Final Fantasy XI's history where I don't think the dev team knew what the fuck they wanted to do. And I say that with the best of intentions, because they released Wings of the Goddess, an expansion. We paid for the expansion. And then before ever finishing Wings of the Goddess, they like released 6 add-on scenarios, 3 of which were like a major expansion in and of themselves, and that of Abyssy. Charged us $10 each for all of them. And each of them, it contains like a 6 to 8 hour story with like a customizable piece of gear. Well, I'm sorry, the first 3 contain that. The last 3, again, are really more like an entire expansion's worth of endgame content in and of themselves. So, it's, yeah. Crystalline Prophecy was the first one we ever got, and, I mean, it was just weird. It's just really weird what they did with all those add-on scenarios while they were still expanding on Wings. So it's like we were buying expansions while playing an expansion that was underway. It's just wild. Going to Kufim Island would trigger Chains of Promethea as well, which we will have to do. But the number one thing you absolutely should do, and you're going to learn that this is maybe not the greatest thing, is we really want to get a Chocobo. Now, I say want to because this tends to come with a bit of a catch. Now, the Chocobo is obtained from a quest that we can unlock over in Upper Jeuno, which surprisingly doesn't have a cutscene when we zone in. However, you are going to need 4 Gauze-bit grass. Now, if I recall correctly, you can use one of the other items. I think one of the 2 items you get allows you to just get Gauze-bit grass. But otherwise, you're going to find that... okay, no, we don't want to do the Meeble stuff. The Meeble burrowing thing, that's not the NPC I thought it was. We're going to go down here and talk to the correct one. One of these NPCs is an auction house, which is also in Lower Jeuno as well. But, like, yeah, we don't want all that. Oh, we do want this home point, however. Are you an auction house? Is it one of you? Shama? Yes. Okay. So the problem with Gauze-bit grass is that it's very expensive. And most of the time, people don't really care that new players need this stuff. And I don't remember where it is, unfortunately. It might be under alchemy. Oh, you know what? It might be also under, like, pet items. Even though I don't think it is technically a pet item. I think because it's used for that, it might be labeled. It might be put there. I should just Google it. That's literally, like, you'll learn sooner or later that just trying to figure things out is not worth doing in this game. Yeah, I think Gauze-bit grass might actually be a pet item. Let's see. Go to Upper Jeuno. Prerequisite quest, grab home point 3. 4 Gauze-bit grass, which are about 10k each on the auction house, or drop from Wadi Hairs in Dangraf Wadi. So, those are your 2 options, and that is accurate. They are a pet item. I was correct. They are ammo and miscellaneous pet item. And as you can see, there's 21 of them on the board, and you remember how much it said they were? Yep, they're about 10,000 apiece. Now, fortunately, if you've been keeping up with your sparks, you can see that that's not that bad. We have 200,000 gil worth of sparks. So I would absolutely advise, no matter how cheap you want to be, that you suck it up and you sell the spark. You sell the Acheron shields to buy Gauze-bit grass. I know if you started in Bastok like I did, it can be tempting to go and fight the hares. And I will say this, if you were going through the first time when I was doing the quest and you're a thief and you have Treasure Hunter, absolutely try to kill a few hares while you're there. I obviously didn't, but I highly advise doing it. If not, don't be cheap. Like, just sell Acheron shields. So we're going to go back to Bastok Markets. And we are going to, and we're going to clean out our inventory in general. We unfortunately can't really trade in any more of these crystals. We're probably best off either vendoring them or selling them on the auction house. Crystals still do sell decently. Oh, and Ivy has run out of patience for my recording. We're at about an hour anyway, so I think we wrap this recording up. I play with Ivy and I get to another recording. Ivy! Ivy, I understand that you want to play, but I'm in something right now. I was about to explain the rest, but now Cat. Hi. Now she's just staring at me in disappointment. She's just like my parents. Yeah, I figured no one was going to buy that Mary's horn, by the way. We did also just sell enough crystals to probably buy some of our own anyway. We're going to do 4K, because one of them sold for 3K. One of the stacks sold for 3K, but not all of them. 2.8. Alright. Listen, we don't need all these crystals. Unless you really want to craft. I'm not going to lie. Somebody asked me about, like, oh, should I craft if I'm playing 11 nowadays? Are you going to go over that? And I'll be like, honestly, crafting to be self-sufficient is not really a thing. Because all of the self-sufficient items you can buy from the Curio Moogle, you really need to be, like, wholly committed to the idea of, like, really buckling down and crafting. So, I probably won't cover it other than making the... What? 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 Alright. If you insist, I guess. Why is silence... Is that not sold by any of the vendors? Do people... I don't know. Maybe it's just way cheaper. Maybe the vendor price is just, like, absurd. I'm shook by how expensive that was. Absolutely shook by how expensive that was. Holy Jesus. Sorry I yelled. But it was honestly deserved. What? I actually have more items I want to sell, but only 7 items at a time. It's not the greatest auction house, but it is the one that we have. So we are going to just quickly vendor some of the stuff that is not going to sell super well. It's not worth really taking the time to sell. You could argue most of that stuff isn't really worth taking the time to sell. In fact, you could argue all of this isn't really worth taking the time to sell. And I would agree. But we're going to do that. Get rid of the Batwing. I don't think tree cuttings really sell that well anymore. And yes, I know I dropped the hair thing when I was coming over here to sell. But I didn't care. I knew hair meat, even vendor value-wise, wasn't going to be worth it. And now for Issakoth, we are going to buy Acheron shields. We are going to the 71 to 98. I believe it is the 3rd page. There they are. And we are going to make the exchange several times. This is the most, remember, I already said this before, this is the most important thing you can do with your sparks. Having gil and trying... Obviously, I've been playing enough to get 1,000,000 gil a week, but if you are playing enough, you do not want to miss out. Like, there's just no reason not to be making the 1,000,000 gil a week if you're getting enough sparks per week. And accolades as well. So now we sell the Acheron shields, 26,930 each. Would you look at that? Now we can buy Gaussbit grass, and we can get our mount. 200,000 gil. Plus, remember, I did sell some items. So I actually have probably, like, what, 12,000 gil tucked away. Bam, 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 bam. And we might as well just buy it here. Like, I could teleport first, but, like, just buy it here. No. I was kind of hoping something had sold already. So we're going to ammo and miscellaneous, pet items, and it is the very... Oh my god! Like, 8 of them disappeared off the board. Hopefully there's still 10,000 a pop. And somebody's not, like, overcutting. Overcutting is actually a thing that is very deliberately done in 11. Selling something for, like, let's say somebody puts it up for 10,001. Their hope is that you'll just kind of jump up to another higher integer of cost, like 11,000, and they don't have to pay the tax on listing it for a higher amount. If you're smart, though, once you get used to playing 11, you look for that kind of stuff. You go, okay, I didn't get it for 10,000. Are they a smart ass? Are they doing 10,001? No. Are they trying 10,000, like, 100, you know? you kind of just don't accept, because everybody who plays the game enough is like, nah, you're not going to get me with that shit. But then sometimes people just genuinely put it up for like 11,000. And if it's the only thing and you really need it, you might jump up to that point. Like, overcutting is something you can genuinely do that is like, obviously you're raising the price of something, but only if there's a supply demand. Like, it effectively only comes into play if the supply is low and the demand is high, which is just kind of how markets work anyway. If you have control, if you are the next best option on the market, then who's going to say no, right? If they, like, some people will say, I'll buy it later. They'll wait till other people put it up who are going to undercut because they want the faster sale. But most of the time, no, people will just jump right to overcutting. And they'll be okay with it. So, we need to talk to, is it Brutus? Let's see. Yes, so we talked to this guy. I like how we were over there and now we're over here. Hey, what are you staring at? Haven't you ever seen a chocobo before? Chocobos may be tame creatures now, but they originally came from the wild. The Thene was once covered in wild chocobos. Flocks of them used to dart about the plains. That's why they love it when you take them back there. It runs through their blood. Quack! Looks like it's feeding time. Hello, friend. It looks like the Chocobo wants to venture outside. Free the Chocobo. These Chocobos act like they're starving. Well, I like how I didn't really free it. What's this? I think this honestly isn't even the Chocobo quest. One of the Chocobos is gone. Never thought I'd see the day. Could he have understood what we were talking about earlier? That Chocobo was always a smart one. I wouldn't be surprised if he did understand and went off in search of his wild companions. But wild Chocobos don't exist anymore. The Chocobo was raised in a stable. He doesn't realize how harsh the world out there is. What if he were attacked by some despicable creature? Please help me bring him back. Now, I actually don't think that's the correct quest. Let me check. Chocobo on the loose. Yes, that is not the correct quest. I think we need to zone out and back in. Oh, wait, no, there we go. What's your problem? You want to ride a Chocobo? I sure do. Of course you do. Nowadays, everyone wants to ride a Chocobo. Why, this is a golden opportunity for you to step into the wide, wonderful world of avian delight. Then again, you young people have a tendency to throw creatures away without a moment's thought. That's why there are more Chocobos living out in the wild now than I ever dreamed as a kid. You wouldn't dream of committing such a terrifying act, would you? No, never. Of course you wouldn't. Still, I can't grant you permission to ride so easily. Vanadil Chocobo Society would never allow it. I've got it. See that fine creature over yonder? If she takes to you, I'll let you ride her. Good luck, kid. So, this quest, I think I mentioned in the previous spot, used to take 6 hours. Now, it only takes about 6 minutes. So we need to feed it 4 gauze bit grass. And we can do that once every 60 seconds. They won't eat a thing until they're comfortable with you. Just keep at it, okay? So now we literally wait 60 seconds. I don't even remember if it's 60 seconds. It might just be every in-game hour. Like, I think... I can't remember if it's a minute or it's every in-game hour. Let's try again. Yeah, no, it is. It's once every minute. Okay. So you can genuinely set a clock for this. I'm going to get my stopwatch for the next part. We do have cutscenes in between for, like, I think after the second feeding. But yeah, you just wait. Yeah, so you used to literally have to wait for the next in-game day. So if you look at my clock down at the bottom, it's you'll see that it's 2,200 hours. When that ticks over to 0, that used to be the wait that you had to do in order to feed a Chocobo again. So 6 hours you'd have to do. So what a lot of people would do is they would, like, do a feeding for Gauzevet grass, and they would go level, maybe, in Kufim. Or at least, you know, hope a party would take them. Quah! He still seems a little wary of you. Nope, still a no-go. Friendly Chocobo would be eating already, but this one's different. Now I'll set my stopwatch. Instead of just like sitting here for 6 hours and trying to do it, yeah, most people would like go out and try to do something. Maybe they would just wait for a party, or if you're really lucky, when you first get to Jeuno, you get the Gaussbit grass and you come here, and you're kind of in my situation back in the day. Like, honestly, feeding the Chocobo at 2,200 hours and then being able to feed it again 5 minutes later, it's kind of a dream scenario, because it cut like a whole hour out of the time that you were waiting, because if you feed it at like 001 or like 1 a.m., 100 hours, then you have to wait all the way till the top of the next hour. So that's when you're likely to get distracted doing something else. Maybe even you could just like, I don't know, back then you couldn't really throw on YouTube or Netflix or whatever. You literally could maybe play a different game at the same time. Like if you were playing this on your PC and you loaded up something on your PlayStation or your N64 or whatever, or your GameCube, I guess would have been at the time. Like, yeah, I guess that's an option as well. But yeah, that's what I used to be, and not anymore. All right, yeah. So we do get a cutscene for this one. He looks slightly comfortable with you. Nom 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 nom. Wow, I thought it would take longer. I think we've almost won him over. Well, look at what we have here. He's already munching away. Looks like he's almost ready. Right when I thought I lost you, I find your sorry face here. Who the heck are you? It ain't polite to barge into a Chocobo corral, partner. Don't talk to me like that, thief. I'm here to take back what's rightfully mine. We don't house thieves here, mister, and I don't recall taking anyone's property. This Chocobo belongs to me. Can't you see the brand? Now give him back. What that means? Master, come quickly. Mister, you may be a Chocobo handler, but I reckon you handle them roughly. So? You've got a problem with that? Spoil your animals and they'll never obey. You've got to instill them with fear. I mean, come on. They're just animals. You eat meat, don't you? So don't lecture me on what I do with them. Come on, let's go. Quah! Lay off, mister. You're scaring him. Yeah? Well, it's because you've spoiled him rotten. I'll be back for what's mine. You mark my words. Deepman looking like a straight tool. That kind of scum is the worst. Oh well, this doesn't really concern you. So look, kiddo, you got talent. This birdie here's almost yours. Keep up the good work, yeah? Oh, that brute doesn't scare me. Anyway, look at you. The master says you got talent. I'm so jealous. I don't remember if the minute started when the cutscene started or when it ended. Let's find out. The answer is when it started. Just a little bit more. Thanks to you, he's eating more. And his feathers have grown, and his feathers have a healthier glow. Yeah, now, by the way, just wait. Just sit here and wait. There's no reason in walking away. Ivy! Ivy is on my lap. Hello, Ivy. Bam, bam. Oh, Ivy. Ivy, don't step on the desk. It's almost been a minute, Ivy. You're not being replaced by a Chocobo. I promise. Oh, and now she is very comfortably nestled in my arms. I've never heard him squeal so happily, but I'm happy. And we will have this done. Now, keep in mind, the Chocobo is not a mount. Not in this sense. When we finish this quest, we will get a license that lets us rent Chocobos. But we do not get a Chocobo whistle with which to summon one anywhere. That is a completely different quest and something we're probably not going to bother doing. However, by doing this quest, we will be able to do a follow-up quest called Full Speed Ahead, which will give us our first actual mount. And you just have to play a little mini-game. I'm probably going to fail it the very first time. I don't think I've ever succeeded on it the first time doing it. But the second time doing it, it's normally pretty easy. But it's just a quick little mini-game that you play where you have to get through like 5 checkpoints with like a Velociraptor mount. And then you get the Velociraptor mount as your actual first mount. And that you can treat like a traditional mount. Well, looks like he's used to you now. Good job. Now you're a qualified Chocobo rider. Now I can read animals' minds. Maybe you can become a Beastmaster. Of course, I can't teach you how. You'll just have to practice. The rest is up to you, kiddo. For now, take this to the stables. The master sure is profound, talking about reading their minds. At least we know the last owner didn't have that gift. Alright, so now we have the Chocobo license. So now we have to speak to this one, Mappy Toto. And you also need to buy the map of Jeuno, which we do have. I did buy it. That's why I was able to see Rollenberry Fields. So it should be fine. How I yearn for the ability to work in peace and quiet, free of this horrible facial constraint. Aha, you over there. I bet you know your way around Chocobo riding, don't you? Absolutely stellar. I knew it. Then you're just Taru, the man I've been looking for. Give me just a moment. Whew. Now all we do is wait Taru and darn it all. Every time they see me, they try to bite my nose off like it's a little whittle sausage. See, that's why I've got on this mask. Here we go. Random Velociraptor. While Vanadelians have long since matured the art of taming the Chocobo, few of us have been working on domesticating more exotic beasts. We think we finally stumbled upon something, but we're loath to release it to the populace without taking it for a test drive. That's where the adventurers come in. We figure if Chocobos can run fast, then how about some muscular raptors? We've been toiling day and night, but it's hard to get them to obey anyone other than their handler. This cute little thing here is no different, Taru. That's where you come in. We want her to get used to being around people of all sorts, so I propose a little deal. You take her around Battaglia Downs, then I'll give you this whistle as a little present, Taru. That's as good a deal as any, I'll say. Sounds like fun. Whee! Finally, someone says yes! Alright, okay, you put your hands here and your feet here. Picture perfect, Taru! Now be a doll, would you, and open up your map of Battaglia Downs. Okay, see these 8 Taru spots I've marked? They're locations within the Downs I need you to visit. There's a few hollows there, you see. And in those hollows, I've left some erstwhile companions' favorite treats for you to give her. If you'll forgive the saying, you'll have her eating out of your hand. But 8 spots is a trifle much, So let's cut it down to 5. That should be enough to make her cuddle up to you like a puppy. And when you're done with that, I need you to go over here. My good friend Civilia will be waiting for you to return the Raptor. Like I said, sometimes our friend here can be a bit less than cooperative. She can get tired, or it's better to say sick of it, and slow down and may even wake you off her back. She's a sucker for encouragement, Taru, so if that happens, just cheer her up. Another thing, she'll go bolting off home if you dismount, so if that happens, just ample-wample your way back here. Have a safe trip. Alright, so there is a route that it lists here to go J8, I7, H6, G6, F7, E6, and to slash cheer twice. You also generally want to avoid going uphill because that actually makes the Raptor kind of throw its hissy fit faster and faster. So, J8 first should be right this way. We want to actually turn on our markers so we can see them. Should be this very first one right in front of us. So, we want to avoid going up hills as much as possible. And by slash cheering, we can actually buy more time. Now, normally I don't bother with the slash cheer. You just target yourself and slash cheer, I believe. But we go in the hollow. We grab that. That's Munchie number 1. We slash cheer. Probably help if I tapped back into the game. Slash cheer. Gains a second win. Now we want to go to I-7. Which should be right over here. And then H6, which should be the next one up. And then after H6, we'll cheer again. Because I actually have a guide in front of me while I'm doing it this time, this will probably be the first time I ever get this done in one try. The motivation is still so high. Yeah, so that's the next one. You can see the marker over it as well. After that is G6. G6. Oh, yeah, I see. Those last two leading directly to Cerealia. Oh no, an evil spirit's gonna eat my food! And then we slash cheer again. And I think that's the cave right there for G6. It does also recommend one more slash cheer because of the motivation. Oh no, that's not G6. G6 is more this way. Remember, going uphill is generally bad, but you can see that when you go uphill, there was the sweat. The problem is I don't... Oh, there it is. I was going to say, I don't really remember where the entrance is to this one. See, even right now, with that little bit of uphill, the motivation has gone down a ton. Look at how much slower it's getting so fast just from running along that hillside instead of on flat ground. We probably need to slash cheer now. And then go directly west. Unfortunately, we are going uphill to do this. We're not too far away now. Ivy! Ivy's just in my lap, rubbing against my hand that's on the left analog stick. And then one more slash cheer, and that should do it. Honestly, even without the slash cheer, that's probably enough. Cerealia is over here. Hello! And quest complete. Expertly done. Never have I seen anyone mount a raptor with such aplomb. I dare say I never will again. Your skill is so impressive. In fact, I'll let you take this one all the way back to Jeuno. Thank you. You see, our current research involves not only training the raptors in following commands of the common man, but also in having them reach their destinations without any input from their masters. I'll use my link pearl to apprise Mappy Toto of the situation so that she can prepare a suitable reward. Have a safe journey back! We're not actually running back. They're going to teleport you back. But we do have to walk over to Mappy Toto. Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, Mappy Toto, that's right. Oh, Mappy Toto. What level is my thief again? 19? That's what I thought. Trying to think about going to Kufim as Thief. 19 Thief in Kufim should be fine. Again, Trusts just do so much work. We're not going to do that in this video, though. I'm going to take a short break and then record another one, probably. Look who made it back, and no worse for wear. A deal's a deal. With this trainer's whistle, you should be able to call your raptor to your side anywhere in the field. Don't give me that dirty look. This one's a bit more docile than the one I had you take around Battaglia Downs. To ride a mount, select Mount from the Abilities submenu. Your trainer's whistle is a bit special because it can produce all manner of lovely sound. If you come across a Chocobo whistle in your travels, would you mind showing it to me? I can register it to your training whistle, your trainer's whistle. And if you stumble-wumble upon an item known as an astral notebook, then I can register that too. Chocobo whistles and items beginning with the music note sign can be used to obtain new mounts by trading them to Mappy Toto. Feel free to do so right away. Note that Chocobo whistles will not be consumed in the process. And while I have you here, the Raptor Waptor you took out before could always use more training. I don't think I could provide you with any more rewards, so it's really up to you. But it really would be quite the boon. Yeah, no more rewards means I'm never doing that again. And neither will you. So yeah, now I actually have the ability, and anywhere that actually allows mounts, which is just basically any non-dungeon and non-city, I can use that to mount up and get around faster. It's super handy. You don't aggro anything while you're on mounts. However, you can be hit by certain monster abilities, and that can force you off the mount. That can kill you and force you off the mount, which is hilarious when it does happen, but it does not happen very often, so you don't really need... It's not something you usually need to be concerned about. Just figure it's worth saying to, you know, cover my booty. But that's going to be it. That's going to be it for this part of the Final Fantasy XI Let's Play. Made it to Jeuno and got our mount. Got our Chocobo stuff done, got our mount done. In the next part, I will probably swap back to Thief, get a little bit of leveling done, and then we probably want to continue on with unlocking more areas. We really want to get access to Kazam, which we have access to, mind you. We're going to basically go to Norg, and we're going to walk back to Kazam, which we really needed to make sure we had the Chocobo available to us to do that for, because we can rent a Chocobo in Norg and walk up to Kazam. And it's a bit of a maze getting back, but I think I remember the route to get back. If not, I'll probably be a little bit off, but I'll figure it out. Generally, we just need to go from... I think we go from the south side to the north side is really the only important detail that actually happens. But that's going to be a wrap for this part. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've been enjoying it. And be sure to keep following along. Be sure to check out the other videos in the playlist. And I will see you in the next one. Until then, thanks for watching, and I bid you adieu. Bye-bye.